All right, so that's falling back 3.6 degrees. Yes, it's an iPhone, but that's 3.6 degrees.
And this is all stuff we question, even with the builder, and he didn't like us questioning what we had to.
Sounds like you had the builder from hell.
Oh, yeah, that's an understatement.
And he's still trading.
Yeah, that's right. Because I don't trust the Qbcc anymore.
Looks like grinding stripes to me.
Yeah.
Where they've cut sheets near these ones and just decided to use them anyway. Took action.
Right. He took it. The builder took action
He started to take action, yeah.
on the roofing, the cladding and roofing
No,
company.
us.
The Qbcc has been involved, and that they've ruled
That it may not, in their exact words, it may not look pretty, but it does the job.
clients, victims. I'm going to say victims. Let's make this really dramatic. It is dramatic. They've had dramas at the builder. They've had no good response from the Qbcc. So now we're going to walk around this building and we're going to say this here is the fault and this is what we need to do to rectify the problem. So let's go. See ya.
Yeah. Well, we wanted the shed-style home, you know, shed house that everyone sort of. Well, it wasn't actually a big thing back then, so it was very hard to find a builder, even to start with, to take on our idea. We liked the trim deck and we wanted the dark monument look, so that's what we went with.
And if done well, like what you see in all of your inspiration, the stuff you see in the inspiration is the stuff you.
Effective, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can, when done well, it can look absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things that has to be done well to look effective.
We've now.
So I mean, like even if you were to start out here, like I mean, just even the trimmings there, you've got everything butting up. It's not tucked in nicely. Sill above the door. Some of them have the 5mm gap. Some of them have a 1mm gap. There's just no quality. Like you walk up to it and it doesn't look like it's finished. Yet
Yeah.
they told us, no, that's the finished product. And we were like, what? Like this is what you pay. And I'll say it, this is a $500,000 build. Right?
Yep.
You know, that's like, what do you sort of
Yeah.
gobsmacked with when they said, no, that's the finished product. And I'm left flabbergasted not knowing what to say. Because to me, I'm a layman's, I don't even know, but like to me, that's not finished.
Well, the way it's been finished is interesting, isn't it? Like in the corner here where
Yeah.
that sort of just come down into there. You can see a screw is sitting underneath there. And this is Bell 19 rated, so everything's meant to have a 3mm gap maximum. Yeah.
They were like 3mm allowed at all. Yeah.
See, what should really happen there is that top channel, if it was done with a receiver type channel where it went up, came down, went up so that the flashing went on before the sheets were installed, then the sheets get pushed up into a, if required, fire rated foam, which stops anything. But even if it wasn't for the foam, you'd have a channel which all the sheets go up into. You wouldn't have that top low of screws.
Yes.
You wouldn't also have any rivets fixed into that flashing at the top, and you'd see no daylight.
Yeah.
So that's just one simple thing that would change that. And at the ends, on the right and on the left where you've got those flashings, you'd pre-flash that first as well. The sheets go into there, then you box it off. So you've got some continuity of the material. Also, you could set those sheets out so that you know where the ribs are going to land, to make sure on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side there's some consistency, where if you look here over the centre of that door, it's not. And it's small little things like that.
That's right. And it draws your eye, which I mean is all goes into the quality of what we thought we were getting and we didn't get. And there was no thought pattern into, it was like, get the sheets here, slap them up. So
yeah, it was get it done as fast as possible. But also the knowledge from the looks of things was limited by the installer and builder. You mentioned that the Qbcc has been involved, and that they've ruled that it's
that it may not, in their exact words, it may not look pretty, but it does the job. That's their exact wording.
It may not look pretty, but it does the job.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Does it? What do you think? Like, take the prettiness away from it. Is it doing the job?
Well, no, it's not, because, and which we brought up to them, but there's moisture ingress on the inside of our window ledges inside,
Right, okay.
which evidently is not an issue. And because they said that they can't determine whether that moisture ingress was prior to the sheeting going on or now, I'm like, well, there's still mold there. So moisture is getting in from somewhere, but they don't.
Sounds like he needs to hear from site inspections to come out and go to town on it. He's struggling in Victoria trying to get the VBA to do anything.
Yeah.
So, okay, so around here you've got this flashing up the top that is just wobbly all over the place. And you mentioned that the gutter was falling, it was held on by one bracket?
No, so down there where you can see the gutter is sagging.
Yes.
So the bottom of the bracket's been screwed off, but there's no screw on the top of the bracket. So
Right.
it's just the front of the gutter just hangs down and the top of the bracket slaps around.
So you've got they're called a general purpose bracket, what's been installed on here. And they've put a fixing into the bottom of the general purpose bracket, but not into the top.
Yeah. And they said it didn't require it.
Right, it didn't require it. And how did you find out that information?
We rang them,
The builder?
the Cladders,
Okay,
and they gave us a mouthful.
right.
Yeah.
That's not nice.
No. Well, it wasn't a nice conversation.
So now looking at the bottom here, that in relation to the fact that there's no break or gap between the bottom of this here and there, that's just hard down onto there, which will build corrosion in over time. And so that there is an issue that needs to have a small little gap. Even if it's 2-3 millimetres, it needs to have that to let any moisture out. So if anything was to get down there, yeah, that's an issue with that.
We go from being tight to around the other side of the house where there's like a 6 mil gap.
Right.
So it's the inconsistency of it as well.
You know, above the windows are.
It's just a heap of silicon.
Yeah,
It's really interesting how they've, like we were saying before, how that has been flashed into there. And they've used multiple different colour rivets. You've got a black rivet on there
yeah,
and the monument rivets, which seem to look to be fading already.
yeah.
All right. Let me know if you see, if there's something. Gee.
You can see it on the top.
Yeah, if you stand up here,
If you stand up.
the quality of what they've cut, the top of the.
There are cuts on top of the windows.
Right, okay. Yeah, so we're looking, they've got a rivet into the side of there and the other side, so water essentially, I'm not sure how that's been waterproof, but it looks like they've got silicon behind it somewhere. But that's just, yeah, that's not straight.
No, at all.
So that's where they could deem that that's aesthetically not pleasing, apart from the fact that it's got huge gaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not a 3 mil gap.
No.
Which is, our BAL rating is a maximum of 3 mil from an exterior, on the exterior at all.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and then with that, then you'll have, like, a mouse could get in under that.
yeah, well, that's what, yeah, easy.
So on that, see, they also, the battens were installed onto the timber frame and the sarking was put on the outside of the...
Sarking sits directly against the sheeting.
Yeah.
And so, well, in my understanding, that there doesn't give you the thermal break because you need to have that thermal break between the cladding and the frame.
Yes, that's correct.
And that there was deemed to be acceptable by the QBCC.
That was acceptable as well. And the fact that the flashing's been cut low and he hasn't even tucked it around the framing or finished off around the windows at all. So there's a massive gap. The sarking just flaps in the wind. There's nothing finishing.
So there's no actual waterproofing around the window
Around the
frames.
window frames at
Is
all.
there any damp course, like the black?
That's been cut off.
Right. Was the sarking taped at all to...
No taping.
That's all they got him for, is that he didn't use the correct tape, naughty builder.
Right.
No, that's it.
Took action.
Right. He took it, the builder took action
He started to take action, yeah.
on the roofing, the cladding and roofing
No,
company.
us.
So as soon as you stepped in to have something to say to the builder that wasn't...
We tried to say that we weren't happy with what he was providing.
He started getting quite nasty.
He started getting quite nasty. He then slapped it together even quicker and
Through
slapped
a
us with the
breach notice.
enclosed stage, which we weren't willing to pay because we weren't happy with what.
Is that lock up, basically?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we weren't happy with it. So we tried to negotiate, and then 5 days later we got
a breach notice.
A breach notice.
And from there on, it's been downhill.
And then.
But see, look, I mean, the Cladders have even left like holes in there. There's just a random hole for no reason.
Yeah, that hole that's up there, that's a whatever. That's no explanation.
No.
Okay.
No.
Because I reckon that hole's bigger than 3 mils.
So we're not quite sure.
A good thing is that they didn't silicon the bottom of these sheets. I've seen that done before.
Really?
Yeah.
You can see the angle on these, they don't lean forward at all.
Yeah, they've got a backward lean.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that.
Well, when we had that huge rain, there was just pools on there. Like, we actually had to come out and like run our hand to try and get the water off because it was just sitting.
Right, and these are some of the things that you'd like us to address today.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get water dripping from the gutter that drips down onto here, you can hear it.
Dripping off the
Night.
gutter.
Yeah.
It's sort of coming either out of the join, but it's
Yeah,
dripping
it
down
comes
the
into
front
the
face and
joint,
dropping
yeah.
off.
The joins, every single one of their joins in the gutter leaks.
That's falling back 2.1 degrees. 2.2 degrees backwards on that head. Again, and if you look at that transition right there, water's going to run across to the side of that and run straight back in because there's no sealant or anything that's actually doing anything.
And just decided to use it anyway.
When you said ground, like grinded,
Well, that's
Yeah.
what I believe. Like that looks like
That's
grinding
grinding
sparks. to me. I'm a
sparks.
boiler maker. Like that looks like grinding sparks to me.
yeah.
Where they've cut sheets near these ones and just decided to use them anyway.
And although we got told that completely voids the warranty on the sheets, the Qbcc said that that's nothing to worry. Like, that can just be patched up.
Because it's non-structural. Because it's not a structural issue, it becomes a contractual issue with the builder.
Probably.
Yeah. That I've heard that before.
It's just crazy though.
If they've installed this as per the span table
Yeah.
and all the flashings and everything, if they're all done right, done to a code, then it doesn't matter what this could have scratches all over it, and the Qbcc they don't care.
They don't care.
So technically, that's not trim deck.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you had a contract stating he needed to use trim deck and that there was no other things, then contractually you could go against him. But you couldn't use anyone but trim deck because trim deck is a Lysart product.
Oh, okay. Well,
Right?
there you go.
Yeah, you learned that's what you learned at the end of the job, don't you?
Yeah. Yep. Ours definitely says trim deck.
You can see the top of the flashing here. It hangs out.
Underneath, yeah.
I'd say 15 mil.
Well, that flashing's not even fixed onto anything. No. So that flashing's been put on. I'd imagine, just see if I can walk up here without killing myself. Bell 19, that should have profile filter in every single one of those sheets. The only way you could get away with changing that is if you put gutter guard on there.
That's what
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
We've got that. Yeah.
Should come up and should go up underneath the roof. That way there, then the gutter gets held on properly. So the gutter's being fixed to that, and the way that that's looking, it doesn't seem that that's been the case.
No. Well, you can see a bracket right there.
Yeah, wow, that bracket's sitting...
Not even on the gutter.
No, the gutter's not sitting on it at all, is it?
No.
So what I'm trying to look to see is if that gutter, if that fascia that flashing that the gutter's sitting onto goes up underneath the roof sheet, if it does that and it's screwed in through there, then that's got some level of structure if you go through and rivet the whole lot off back to there.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it looks like that you'd pull the gutter off and fix it all up because it needs to.
From our bedroom, you could just see like light. It was just daytime. So,
Right.
In the roof from that alfresco area, particularly.
Sometimes it's okay to have a little bit because you know it's going to then breathe.
Yeah.
But if it's not deflected light,
No.
that's...
No, it was
Yeah. It's interesting with the way that they've flashed this off. Realistically, this flashing, how you've got that boxed out here,
Yeah.
to achieve that, because that flashing and this flashing can't be at the same height, that has to, like to achieve that boxed out section that goes around, you'd need to bring these out so they sit out in front and come back to the frame, to the cladding. So this here should, to get that look that you're really wanting,
Yeah.
that there should be sitting out there and run down. And you could have made this here bigger so the whole thing gave you that detail.
And also hide those cuts. You'll be able to straighten those cuts and that up.
Normally what you'd use is a factory edge bottom. Quite often you'll see them anyway.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get them in. You want them to sit about 4 millimetres, 3 millimetres.
Yeah.
Bell 19, you want them to be 3 millimetres off that. So if any moisture does come down them, it drips out and goes away.
Yeah.
with this sitting out where it does hide it to a certain extent, the end of the sheets. I can fit my finger up underneath that.
Yeah.
Gets worse around the back.
Right, so we're looking at the good stuff at the moment.
Yeah, this is a good
This
side.
was the first side that got done, so I think they gradually the care went out the window.
Headed downhill.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately they get paid a contract rate, the installers, and they don't have any say in how much they get paid, and so they do it and they realise, hey, I'm not making as much money as I'd like to make.
Smash through it.
Yeah, so if you look at these screw fixing positions, that should be, yeah, well, there you go, look at that. Well, these should realistically be another 10 mil. Well, not so much the centre, but over here, because that there is the idea with the non-neo, so the neo's a little rubber that's underneath them, the idea with the non-neo fixings into the walls that they sit on a flat surface.
Yeah.
And because that's now raised up on that ridge, that now becomes a water ingress point for every single one of those screws. I think there's potentially a way that you can... let me talk to some builders that deal with Qbcc on it every day, share with them some of this stuff, because it's... I can't see how the Qbcc can... I feel sorry for you guys completely. Whoa! What is that? Kaylee, you should see that. Look at what the heck is...
The bottom starts to run out as well. Starts getting bigger and bigger towards the front.
Yeah, and look, even like, I mean, the gap there, you've got one sheet and then they put the sheet over top and it's heaps.
And all the swarf that's fallen out behind it. That's a pretty wide flashing as well.
Yeah. It was even wider when we first,
So this is the second go at it?
Yeah, this is the second go. All
Okay.
of every single window they came and redid because I said I'm not paying.
Well, I can see from here, the head on that window is falling backwards.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but that's a code issue. That's not a, like to say that that's...
We've really been left to our own devices. No one's backing us at all.
So you've got a letter stating from Qbcc that there is...
It's a non-issue.
Is a non-issue.
Yeah, the cladding at all, the only thing that they picked up was a couple of dings and scratches that they were like, yeah, they need to be replaced. But yeah, I know. It was the scratches that they picked up on. But when we mentioned the flashing, they said, oh, yeah, it's not really pretty, but it does the job.
So it's not really pretty, but it does the job, is this right there.
Yeah.
But that's worse than the other one around the corner. And
See, look at this. Straight from up here.
it's not really pretty, but it does the job, is the Qbcc's statement.
And we tried to fight because, like, ours is the BAL 19 rating, which is very, very strict, evidently.
Yeah.
Figure.
So if you look here, where that runs down, and that now runs down, there's no actual effective drip edge that's been created over the top of that window. From a wall cladding, and not even just roofing and cladding, that there needs to have a drip edge that is installed.
Yeah, well, there's no drip edge at the front too, and all our timber's practically rotten from it. And this is all stuff we question, even with the builder, and he didn't like us questioning what we had to.
Sounds like you had the builder from hell.
Oh, yeah, that's an understatement.
And he's still trading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just
Wow.
he won the court case from the Qbcc to say that we were the ones that did the wrong thing.
So it sucks to be left to have to be an owner builder and then try and work out what is and what isn't and trust.
That's right. Because I don't trust the Qbcc anymore.
No.
I mean, I had another inspector. I organised another inspector to come out, and that's another issue. Our plumbing, while under the scope of the builder, got approved by inspectors, yet it was completely faulty.
Right.
Yeah. So we had drains going into the ground, like just terminating into the ground. There was no run to the end, and like it's just been the build from hell.
Do the doors. We need to move the doors back in,
Oh yeah, because look at this.
flush around it.